already seen the last episode, it was about rock and roll legend Fats Domino. Woohoo! And today's episode is going to be about I Love Lucy star Lucille Ball. And I am here with my co-host Tom.
Hello.
And we are going to be discussing all the great things
about Lucille Ball, who I remember watching on TV when I was a kid.
Lucille's father was an electrician. Lucille was born in 1911 in Jamestown, New York, which now holds the Lucy and Desi Museum, which you can still go visit today. And what's really cool is you can take pictures on like a fake I Love Lucy set, which is really cool. Ooh, I know you can take pictures and it's so fun. Lucille Ball was known for being a redhead, who was actually a brunette, and she dyed her hair with henna actually. And so some guy actually was nice enough and just gave her a bunch of the product so that she didn't have to worry about paying for it. So cool fact. Lucille's grandfather was a really big theater geek, and so he encouraged her to pursue acting. And at age 15, Lucy convinced her mother to let her enroll in acting school because she really wanted to go to acting school because she had decided this was her thing. And Lucille's theater stage name was Diana Belmont. The name came from the Belmont racetrack in New York. That's where she got the idea for the name. Yeah, and then Lucy married Desi Arnaz.
That was quick.
Then there was a bunch of other stuff, but we're making it simple here. Then she married Desi. In 1954, Lucy and Desi appear in a Long trailer. And if you haven't seen the Long trailer, you should go watch it. Why?
Oh, it's a lovely movie. It's a road picture. It's just great.
Yeah.
Lots of fun.
And an iconic line from the movie is trailer brakes, left, right, trailer brakes.
Yeah.
Because they buy a fancy mobile home in the movie. You should go watch it.
As the title does imply. There.
And Lucy and Desi created Desi Lou Studios for the I Love Lucy show. Tell us more about Desi Lou Studios, Tom.
Well, it was amazing. I guess part of the reason was because they took a pay cut, right? When they first started making I Love Lucy, they said, no, we want to have the rights to the show. So they got the rights to the show, and the show was a huge hit.
Yeah.
And was in syndication forever, which is where I first saw it.
And reruns after reruns play, except now what is sad is now you can't really find the I Love Lucy show anymore on reruns or anything, because now what Desi Lou Studios turned into was Paramount, and Paramount now has their own subscription service called Paramount Plus. So if you want to watch the I Love Lucy show, you have to subscribe to Paramount Plus. Boo-hoo-hoo. Because
so
Amazon...
a streaming platform on a 65-year-old television show. How about that?
Yeah, and Amazon Prime used to let you watch I Love Lucy, and I was in the middle of it. But then you know what they did? They moved it.
They moved it.
Just
to offend you.
Yes, to offend your host, Lucy, especially. So
maybe you should dye your hair red.
I don't think that would last. And she was actually 40 years old when she created the I Love Lucy show. She didn't go into fame until she was a lot older.
That's right. And before that, she was an actress for a long time. She did a lot of B pictures, as they say, sort of second-rate movies all through the late 30s and 40s. She even did a movie with the Marx Brothers, which nobody watches because it's not a very good movie, but it's called Room Service.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And she at some point she got Harpo Marx to be on one of her I Love Lucy episodes, where they recreated a very famous scene called the mirror scene.
Yeah, and she shaped television, because back then people did not only talk about pregnancy on television, and so for one of her I Love Lucy episodes, she talked about her and Desi Arnaz, who was Ricky Ricardo on the show.
Right. They had to have the kid.
They had to have the kid.
They had to account for the kid.
Yeah, but they didn't call it pregnancy because they were not allowed to use the word pregnancy.
Really?
No, they weren't allowed to use the word pregnancy, but they did a whole episode, and so that really shaped television. And
What did they call it? The happy event?
Yeah, or becoming parents, I think. But okay, so he was called Ricky Ricardo on the show, and she was called what?
Lucy.
Lucille?
Lucy Ricardo.
Yeah, Lucy Ricardo was her name on the show. And so she was born in Jamestown. She's known for being a redhead.
She kept making TV after I Love Lucy
Yeah,
went off
totally.
the air because she was such a familiar figure, right?
Yeah,
And so there was the Lucy show, which I remember seeing in an original
Yeah, so there was
broadcast.
a Lucy show, and she also had 2 kids with Desi Arnaz.
Right, well, one they had to have on TV, right? So.
Yeah, so she actually had 2 real kids, and her last TV program was a show called Life with Lucy, but it was not a big success, and it only aired for 2 months.
Wow.
People did not really like this show.
Well,
But also another
maybe
fun,
they had enough.
yeah, they had enough. But another fun fact is that the Dick Van Dyke Show was a part of Desilu Studios as well. And also, Desilu Studios did Star Trek. They got something to do
Really?
with, yeah, they got something
They
to
were
do.
involved with that.
They were involved with Star Trek. She wasn't fully involved with it, but she did a lot of gave them a lot of money to revamp the pilot episode for Star Trek. So that's how they did that. And she died at age 77. She died at age 77.
Which I remember because I had a job where I had to watch the television news and log all the references to companies so that they could try and sell clips of them. This is a business that doesn't exist anymore, I'm sure. But anyway, and so the night that Lucille Ball died, the San Francisco stations sent reporters to Hollywood to find out how Hollywood was taking it. And there wasn't anybody out on the streets of Hollywood doing anything much except some homeless guy. So they interviewed him and he said, "Wow, Lucy died? That's too bad." So that's my little story about when Lucille Ball died. Which is now, what, 34 years ago or something?
Yeah, exactly. And she really shaped television. Because she was a woman, and back then a lot of women were not on TV, and so I think a lot of people started looking up to her.
And they weren't managing their own company.
Yeah, because later she got the rights. She took the rights from Desi, and so she fully had Desilu Studios for a time, and then she sold it, and it later became Paramount Plus.
Paramount,
which now you know.
Yeah.
And she really did shape it. And so, and her relationship with Desi Arnaz was really toxic, except she still loves Desi for a lot, and so then they got divorced at some point because she couldn't handle it, and something, because he had such bad alcoholism problems.